I don't know. You get this feeling, don't you, every couple of years, 4 years, and you feel a little bit hungover, just a bit low. That's how I think everybody feels this morning when your team goes out of a tournament. I thought the performance was really good. Um, Before the game, I thought France were favourites. I thought they were the better team. I thought they had the better 11. But I thought actually over the course of the game, we more than equalled them. I thought second half we were better. First half, I thought they were good in parts. We were a little bit scrappy. But you missed opportunities, definitely, I think. And that's not being sort of harsh. That's just, I think, how the players and Gareth will be feeling. Just the work that goes into getting to this stage of a tournament, the hoops you have to jump through, and knowing it only comes around every 4 years, and seeing what was in front of in the semi-final. Obviously, Morocco have done absolutely brilliantly, and they're going to be a really tough opponent. But then you think England versus Morocco in a World Cup semi-final, again, the opportunity doesn't become any better than that. So I think those lads will feel sick this morning. They'll feel gutted. I look at sort of some of the lads last night. Jordan Henderson, obviously at his age, doing that interview where you think, in the back of his mind, he'll be thinking, am I coming here again? Am I coming to the World Cup again? Kyle Walker, who had a brilliant game against Mbappe. Just those sorts of things go through my mind this morning, because I've been there in 2006. I sort of knew that this was what wasn't going to be. I feel like that this morning. Just they did really well. The times that I've gone out of tournaments in the past, we haven't always covered ourselves in glory with the performance. I think that the performance last night was really good, and just those very fine margins, little details. Obviously the penalty that Harry's missed as well, and gutted for him. But they're things that happen in a football match. But generally the performance was fantastic. I thought in a really top level game against an opponent that obviously have got lots of class.
You've spoken there about past England teams compared to this one, and you previously in big games England would get tactically or technically outthought and outfought. That wasn't the case last night.
No.
Like you say, in the second half, before Giroud's goal and that save that Pickford makes, it was all England. Does that make it better or worse, the fact that actually it wasn't a technicality or a default in terms of play, but rather France just used their moments better?
There'll be some who harshly sit there and say that the end result's the same, but it's a lot better. I think there's nothing worse than coming off a game of football and thinking that you were inferior and that you deserved to lose and that you weren't even the equal of the opposition, and that you're a bit of an imposter, really. Sometimes I felt like that with England, that we played in tournaments, we sat there at the edge of our box, we're not patient, we're not keeping possession, we're not getting into our attacking shape, we've got no real patterns of play to be able to try and sort of think that we can win the game other than a set piece or a counter-attack. That wasn't what happened last night. We looked like we dominated the French for large parts of that second half, and we got beaten by a moment ourselves with a great bit of play from Griezmann. The ball into the box is wonderful. And so it's better because the players that we've got can carry that forward, and the ones who are going to be in the next tournament are going to be able to take that belief in that we can compete with these nations. I always felt when we came out of tournaments, not all the time, I think Euro 96 probably we were equal to Germany, but in 2004 and 6 we were parked at the edge of our own box, hoping really that they wouldn't score, or that we'd get to penalties, or that we'd nick a goal. That's not the way to really dominate a tournament and win a football tournament and win a trophy. And I think that last night, look, England will think that's a massive missed opportunity. I think that more this morning than I did last night, just because of the fact that your moment's now, and you just don't know when they're going to come round again. I thought that 4 years ago when we played against Croatia, but these lads have got us into these situations again and again. And they're just that little something that just can't get us over the line. But I feel like the right things are happening on the pitch, and we've got the technical ability that's growing and the belief that's growing. So certainly in the past, where there's been autopsies after tournament defeats and tournament exits, I don't feel like that this morning at all. I feel missed opportunity. I feel that the lads will be really dejected, but not in a point whereby they're thinking inferior, and that hasn't always been the case.
Because they weren't inferior, is there a sense of this team should expect more from itself? They should not be thinking that or excited to be equal of France, and this is a France missing a lot of their key players. Should we look at that England squad and think the amount of talent in here, the Premier League being the strongest, financially richest league in the world, all of these factors, Should we be expecting more?
There'll be people this morning and over the next few days who'll start to turn the screw a little bit and say that, we should be winning these matches. We shouldn't be accepting that we play well and lose, and that, pretending everything is good. And I get that a little bit. You can take that harsh approach if you want. It's no problem. I just look at performance and think that football matches are decided in fine margins. And that's what happened last night. There was a part in that game last night where I was sat there on the sort of platform where we were watching from thinking, grab this game now, they're there, they're ready for you could feel it, they were there for the taking, and we didn't go and grab it, and they got the goal, to be fair, in a period after that, which, it can happen. So I know what you're saying, and there was an element of me thinking, go on, grab it, and I think we were grabbing it, and I think we were, getting the game sort of, if you like, we were coming to the grips with the game. But you do have to get over the line. So you do have to get over the line. You just have to. The best teams, the ones that are remembered, do get over the line. But I still feel like it's an evolution. It's part of a journey. I know it sounds very transitional. It sounds sort of quite political, that. But I don't feel sort of so harsh this morning where I'm saying that these players missed something. They haven't got it. The manager hasn't got it. I don't feel like that. There'll be some that will say that over the next few days, and I'm not going to disagree with them. They can say whatever they want. I just thought we played well in the game. It was a game we could always lose. Before think what you were thinking before the game. Mbappe, Dembele, Griezmann, Giroud. We were all thinking that they were probably favourites and they would win probably 6 out of 10 games if we played against them. So I get the harsh approach. I understand it. Yeah, we should have gone and took the game by the scruff of the neck. We should have gone and won it. We should have dealt with things that we didn't deal with. The referee, I think, could have been better. I thought he was awful. And that's not me blaming the referee for England going out, by the way. I just thought he was absolutely awful. And I don't actually say that much anymore. I used to when I played. I used to think that quite a bit. It's just a mentality. But actually now, you hear me on Sky. I've been on Sky for 10, 11 years, and very rare do I say, the referee was an absolute disgrace. I thought he was a shocker. I mean, we were sat there in the corner where the penalty was with Harry Kane in the first half. We were sat there. We literally, felt like we were on top of it. There were 3 or 4 fouls in that area of the pitch in the first half. I was like, how's that not been given a foul? It was weird. And even the penalty that was given against Hernandez wasn't given by the referee on the pitch. And don't overthink that. That was a blatant foul. That he thought he'd lost Mason Mount. It's a double mistake. Fullback thinks he's lost his man, thinks the guy's going to go and score, and basically makes a double mistake by barging him in the back. And because sometimes you see defenders ease players out, I've done it at the back post where he eased someone out. That wasn't an easing out. This was a barge in the back of a player who he thought was going to go and head it, I think. He'd misread the flight of the ball, because I don't think maybe Mason Mount would have got there anyway. But the referee was so bad. The first goal being really harsh, I thought that maybe Jordan could have saved the first goal. I know there'll be people who'll say, that's too harsh, but I thought he could have. I think if he looks at that back with his goalkeeping coach, I think he maybe could have been a little bit further off his line, closed that angle down a little bit more, and maybe just got to it, because as it went past him, it was curving away into the corner. So the little details that sometimes is a yard one way or a yard the other. Could we have stopped the cross on the second goal? Could we have picked up in the middle and been a bit sharper as we come out? I actually think on the first goal, when Mbappe passes it, I think we think the attack's over. I think we think that we've done our job and we've sort of, if you like, stopped that phase of the attack. So as it comes back to Tuchumania, I don't think we think he's going to score. So Jordan Pickford then becomes unsighted. We don't get out quickly enough to him. So there's little details like that. But that's every football match you've ever thought of.